Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 430 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live on YouTube. As always, thank you very much indeed for tuning in, regardless of whether you're watching live or you are watching the recording. I will very quickly say, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. But let us see who the first comment goes to for this episode. It's Rachel who says, hello, Rachel. And oh, I guess just get so paranoid looking at that monitor just under my nose because I think, are we in sync? I seem to be having so many technical glitches. I don't remember having anywhere near this many technical glitches in the past. And I don't know, is YouTube just making life more difficult for us? Anyway, hopefully everything's okay. Rachel, a very, very warm welcome to you. And to David as well, who says, greetings from NYC. Got my bottle of Adorem and a sample of Roque on Friday. I am in heaven, both so different from each other and from anything else, and so good. It makes me so happy to read that. I'm so pleased that people are discovering Adorem. I'm so pleased that there is still some Adorem left for people to discover. That is a limited edition scent. So if you are if you're intrigued by the sound of it, search for Persolaise Adorem and you should be able to see a review of it. But thank you very much for letting me know. Kim says, the Moschino teddy bear grabbed my attention. Yeah, I think it's meant to do that. Oh dear, I mustn't laugh too much because the things is looking very, very rickety. Like if I just go, ha ha ha, then we get a minor earthquake. Shan says, I'm gutted. I never get to join the lives. I'm at a family dinner. Hope everyone enjoys on my behalf. Shall catch the recording tomorrow. Shan, bon appetit, but tell us what you're having, please. We need to know now. We need to know what it is that the whole family is having. Orosiro says, hello, fragrant pals. My mind is clear and heart is open. Talk to me about perfumes, Mr. P. I'm ready. That is very much the attitude that I'm going into as well today. My mind is clear and my heart is open. My mind is open as well. Sharon is here too. So is Natalie, who says, I was just watching your last Dior Homme Sport review for my teenage son. He asked me to get him Dior Sauvage. Can you please do a teenage boy top 10? Okay, there's something about the wording of that that just sounds ever so slightly wrong, but never mind. Moving that, a top 10 for a teenage. I will give it some thought. I will give it some thought. Is there any way you can persuade him to not go for Sauvage? He might like this one, actually. He might like this one. Or maybe the new Hermes, which I haven't smelt yet, but I'm guessing is going to be more interesting than Sauvage. But you know, at the end of the day, your teenage boy needs to wear whatever he enjoys, even if it's Sauvage. Okay, right. Rachel says, yes, Mr. Persolaise, what a great idea. Nick says, Shan is having a massive lobster. Well, one lobster for each member of the family. Yes, I'm liking this image. Okay, we need to get a move on because there are quite a few perfumes I'd like to get through today. We're gonna do a sort of single episode one, just because I think it means we have a lot more fun with each other when we kind of spin things out into about an hour or so rather than stopping at the end of each perfume. And we have got some new and newish things, as you can see, from the likes of Moschino and Penhaligons and Bulgari, and also a Francesca Bianchi that I've been hanging on to for a little while now, but I thought it's time to do a video of it. If you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. You may also want to consider subscribing to my Substack. That's quite hard to say, subscribing to my Substack, although I think today I posted a film review for anybody out there who might be interested in reading a film review. It's a review of the new Andrew Haigh movie called All of Us Strangers. But we need to get a move on. We have got our pre-sprayed blotters. We are good to go. And I think maybe we should start with one that I have actually smelt before. And this has been around for a couple of months. It is still, though, the latest from Penhaligons. It's from their oh so tasteful portrait series. This one is called the Omniscient Mr. Thompson. See, and whenever I do like a kind of, oh, there you go. You can see him in glorious focus there now. The Omniscient Mr. Thompson. But you can see that Mr. Thompson, this particular Mr. Thompson, was a little bit injured. Do you want to zoom in on that again? Look, you can see his tusks are not quite symmetrical. He was a little bit hurt on his way to the Persolaise household but I think that kind of makes him unique. I think that makes him rather special, and so I will do my best to look after him. This one was composed by Fanny Ball. Oh, rather like Ganesh, says Wagstaff. Yeah, I mean, there's a very definite Ganesh resemblance there. This one was done by Fanny Ball. And I had a kind of fleeting sniff of it a while ago at a Penhaligon's boutique. And I was quite taken with it. I know a lot of people, I think, have been rather snooty about it. And I shall tell you why. Let's just label this blotter while we cause a mini earthquake. Look, this table that I'm shaking here isn't even touching the one that the camera is on. You know, we must have very, very wobbly floors. It reminded me of a few things that from the past that I really quite like, and I think Fanny Ball herself is a very, very interesting perfumer. Dominique Ropion was one of her mentors. Frederic Malle rates her very, very highly. So, you know, as far as pedigree goes, you don't get much better than that. Anyway, Pradeep says, rumor is if one says a narrowly orange blossom, Fanny Ball will appear. Oh, come on. Right. So, Yoshi says, not laughing at her name at all. Now. I'm guessing she's French. There's probably no kind of double or triple entendre associated to her name at all. So here we are. The first time I sniffed this, I thought, ooh, shades of, and more than shades of actually, shades of the much missed, very, very, very highly regarded Dries van Noten for Frederic Malle. You remember years ago, in his first collaboration with a designer, Frederic Malle released a Dries van Noten scent that was composed by Bruno Jovanovic. And I think, I mean, we know it's been discontinued, but I think because of issues to do with licensing and the fact that Dries van Noten now has his own perfume range under the Pooch label, and maybe also some, you know, to do with the fact that Frederic Malle, the brand, is now owned by Estee Lauder. The Dries van Noten scent disappeared. I wish I'd bought a backup bottle. I'm treasuring the drops that I have left of the bottle that Madame Persolaise actually bought me for a Christmas once. Oh, Pradeep says Dries van Noten is coming back as per rumors. I haven't heard that. But if all goes according to plan, I should be meeting somebody on Wednesday who will definitely know. And so if I get a chance, I will ask him. What was wonderful about the Dries van Noten scent, many things were wonderful about it, but what was wonderful about it was that it started with a kind of spicy, biscuity. It was supposed to be speculoos. I mean, I think the whole speculoos connection was a little bit of a stretch, but definitely spicy, biscuity, buttery feel over a really, really beautifully done, convincing sandalwood. And so it was creamy, it was, as I say, buttery, it was somehow crumbly, it was delicious without being overly sweet, and it had a kind of roasted, baked quality to it, all at the same time while managing to be very, very sophisticated. Those are the sorts of words that I would use to describe Mr. Thompson. Not that it's a clone, because by no means is it a clone, and I suppose if I were to do a kind of comparison with my memory of Dries van Noten, this one here, the Penhaligons, is milkier rather than so it kind of moves away from butteriness and goes more to milkiness, which I suppose maybe, what does that mean? That it sort of smells less fatty, more creamy? Is that the thing that would make it feel more milky? And it doesn't have necessarily that kind of crumbly, biscuity texture, but it does have something roasted about it, which I gather is supposed to be a sort of sesame seed note. Now, when I first smelt it, I'm going to confess, did not think sesame seeds. I think sesame seeds have got a very, very, very particular smell, and I'm hoping that if somebody gave me sesame seeds to smell, I would recognize them. I did not think sesame smell. I smelt this. But I did think something nutty, maybe just slightly burnt, just coming out of the oven or just coming off a, you know, sort of a dry fried pan. I really like it. I really like it. I think it's one of the best of the portraits, and and personally, and this is very, very personal. This is just, you know, very, very idiosyncratic and probably useless review comment to make. I wish it weren't in this sort of bottle. I wish they'd kind of come up with a different identity for it and put it in their sort of main range, and given it a name that this is the issue I have with these portraits, as a lot of you will know, and I'm not going to kind of get into it now. I don't see the connection, or I don't very easily see the connections between the animals and the names and the perfumes. I mean, okay, I get why an elephant could be omniscient, but the whole stories, I just kind of get lost, and they feel ever so sort of forced and contrived. And I think maybe the idea with him is that this scent is meant to be discreet, which okay, but you know, because I think he's meant to be the sort of butler in the story. I don't know, but an elephant as a butler, I don't get it. I don't get it. But they are doing very, very well for the brand. You know, the my favorite one was discontinued. I think my favorite one was it like Roaring Radcliffe or something, the tobacco one, that's gone. So, you know, I like this one, which probably means if past form is anything to go by with Penhaligons, probably means that in about 3 or 4 months it will be discontinued as well. So if you like the sound of it, do check it out. I've worn it on and off for the last few days, and I like the fact that even though it's quiet, it radiates at just the right level. It has just the right level of sillage, which is my main problem with the new Dior new look. I think it actually stays too close to the skin for the sort of scent it is, whereas here I think they've got the volume control just right. I don't have much of a press release for you. I can just tell you that this is the brand's own blurb from their website. It says, serving smoky, rum-like and leather hints calmed by vanilla and sesame milk. Yeah, actually, good point. We need to mention the vanilla. Mr. Thompson is reassuring at every turn, yet a master in the art of spying. As for what the butler saw, well, he never forgets, but is ever discreet. And the English teacher in me cannot help but point out that they've actually used the wrong discreet there. They've written discrete. Penhaligons, if you're watching, sort it out. All the best butlers keep your secrets, it says. And then it goes on to tell us that the main notes are pink pepper, iris, and sesame seeds. And yeah, there is definitely a kind of iris-like quality to it. I don't smell this and think it's an iris scent. I actually think it's more of a sort of dry, cedary, sandalwoody scent. But it's very, very, very attractive. It really, really, really works. And where is the pre-sprayed one? Pre-sprayed Penhaligons. Here we go. Pre-sprayed Penhaligons. LR says, I just showed up. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm about ready to order it. It's this one. It's the Penhaligons. David says the Estee Lauder Legacy Collection is riding on the Mal name to overcharge these. Oh well, we might be able to talk about those next week, because by this time next week I may have smelt them. Fingers crossed. Anyway, pre-sprayed Penhaligons. Yeah, it's really, really nicely done, and that nutty feel is stronger in the dry down. It's almost, I mean, it's definitely not cumin, because cumin is such a distinctive smell. But it's like a sort of light sprinkling of pepper and maybe coriander, maybe a touch of fenugreek. You know, if they had bottled this in their normal range and given it some name that somehow referenced, I don't know, spice trade and spice roots, I would have been happier. But it's really good. It's really, really nicely done. And I actually referenced it when I did my list of the top 10 perfumes of last year. It didn't make my list, but I did put it in the sort of honorable mentions category. So do check it out. If you like these sorts of bottles, then great. If you don't be put off by the bottle. What are some of you saying? Oris says, if you tell me I'm getting an iris, I want an iris. I mean, maybe a kind of nutty iris, but no, not iris. Rachel says, Mr. P, how would you compare this sillage with Solaris? Oh no, Solaris is bigger. Solaris is bigger. Dave says, nice to hear a good review of Penhaligons. I've always admired some of them, but not enough to buy anything. I like a lot of their stuff. I wore their Orange Blossom the other day again. I really, really like their Orange Blossom. Sharon says, Fanny Bowles' creation for Zoologist, Rabbit, is one of the more interesting recent releases from the house. A subtle carrot cake reference. Oh, okay, that's nice. I need to get back into Zoologist, I think. Pradeep says, is it real sandalwood? Well, they haven't even mentioned sandalwood, so I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but I get that kind of creamy, slightly smoky, sandalwoody feel. Okay, let's move on because we do need to get through as many of these as possible. We've done one. Now let's go. The others I'm a lot less familiar with, so we're in uncharted territory here. Should we do the Moschino? Let's do the Moschino. Okay, so the Moschino. This is. Check out this bottle. Gosh. Yes, enjoy the sight of the pearlescent teddy bear. What can we tell you about the Moschino? Well, believe it or not, the first toy, because this is part of the toy range, look, I can't even lean forward. Right, we need to sort this out for next time. Okay, apologies. Let's just pretend we're on the high seas or something. The very, very first toy came out in 2014, 10 years since the first Moschino toy. But of course, it didn't look like this. That actually was a teddy bear. And the perfume was housed within the teddy bear. Then, I've got my notes here, then in 2018, they went to this design of teddy bear and they gave us Toy 2, which was a feminine scent. The first two toys I could kind of take or leave. They were fine. They were very much part of that kind of cheap and chic Moschino aesthetic. Then in 2019, Jan Vanier gave us Toy Boy, which I thought was wonderful. One of the best masculines we'd had for a while. Certainly one of the best masculines from Moschino. I think I even put it on my list of the top 10 perfumes of that particular year. I still have my bottle. I wear it occasionally. Really, really great. Then 2021 gave us Toy 2 Bubblegum. Okay, if you want that kind of thing, fine. And now in 2023, we have got Toy 2 Pearl. I think you probably can work out why they're calling it Pearl. But there is another kind of claim to fame that this perfume has, because it seems that it was very, 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 its creation was very heavily guided by AI. And I do have a press release, so I shall read it with great interest. I don't know this scent very well at all. It is new. I think it only came out a couple of weeks ago. It is also credited to a perfumer. Who is it? I can't remember now. It's Domitil, isn't it? It's Domitil Michelin Berthier from IFF. Let's spray. We have a pre-sprayed one as well. I think the thing is though, if you're going to do tacky, then do this right. I mean, you know, this is gloriously tacky, isn't it? Fantastically tacky. Oh gosh. Okay, so we're going quite marine, are we? Ooh, you know how to annoy Persolaise, don't you? Nothing like a marine note. Eric says the bubblegum one was pretty fun for 20 minutes. Rachel says bubblegum is why Mr. Persolaise needs to do a list for young adults. Please, I will do my best. I will do my best. Raucous retread says, I feel like something apocalyptic is happening. You're holding a Moschino bottle. Yes. AI? Okay. Right. So what we're getting. Oh, Kim says it's kitsch, not tacky. Okay. And not being an expert in kitsch, can't you tell? I don't know. LR says you have to respect how far they lean into the aesthetic they're going for. I say commit or don't do it, but that's just me. No, I think if you're going to go for it, you need to go for it, don't you? Right, let's see if we can describe it. So very, very definitely marine note. Very, very, very kind of definitely unashamedly synthetic, plasticky. sort of nail varnish remover acetate type feel. Something that, maybe the kind of perfume that an android would devise for themselves, or a robot. And then something coming through that is citrus peely, maybe orange peely. Is that going to be the kind of reference to the sort of naturals? So it is trying to be colorful, but in that kind of completely fake way that the bottle is doing as well. But at least the marine is dying down a little bit. I guess what they're going for is super fresh, super bright, super clean, super safe, which is not what Toy Boy was. Sounds cheap but not chic, says Dave. Angeline says, "That's a no. You are so polite." No, well, I'm not necessarily trying to be polite, but I am trying to describe it so that you know what what I'm smelling. Let's look at the press release though, because I am intrigued. I am genuinely intrigued. Let's see what we can make of it. New for 2024 from the creative genius of Jeremy Scott and harnessing the power of AI comes Toy 2 Pearl, an exciting genderless fragrance by Moschino. Okay, so they're saying genderless. By the way, I mean, AI, I'm not an expert on AI either, but even that term is being so overused now, isn't it? Because not all of the things that we're calling AI are true AI, in the sense that they're not learning, are they? The bottle, okay, we don't need to know about the bottle. Toy 2 Pearl opens with the freshness of lemon, blended with the heady aroma of oregano and sparkling lemon sorbet. Yeah. I'm now thinking bake was the last time I smelt a really, really realistic lemon. This is not it. As the heart emerges, elegant jasmine and warm notes of sand and freesia transport the wearer to a sun-soaked island paradise. Finally, warm, woody base notes of vetiver with invigorating accents of cypress and a touch of musk add timeless softness. Timeless softness. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you just feel these press releases are just trying too hard and should just describe what it is. The bear should have a fishtail, says Mirish. The perfumer is quoted as saying, Moschino Toy 2 Pearl is the fundamental element that inspired me in creating the juice. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't, does it? I thought of lemon sorbet, which brings together freshness, addiction, sunshine, and the Italian culture. I wanted to create a sparkling, floral, and watery perfume, a timeless yet fun fragrance. Where do we get to the AI? Then there's stuff about sustainability and wellness. Oh, AI, here we go. IFF, the fragrance house behind the creation of the Toy 2 Pearl essence, have harnessed the invisible power of scent on our mindsets, memories, and mood. Certain nodes in the human brain are activated with specific scents, and by adopting a neuroscientific approach, the fragrance house was able to reveal the potential of carefully selected ingredients to achieve an all-encompassing wellness. Well, if the opening first few seconds were anything to go by, it did not work on me. By recording 2.5 million measurements in the brain and processing the latest scientific data and artificial intelligence techniques, the fragrance house was able to observe significant activation of brain networks associated with 8 emotional and cognitive dimensions. This approach is known as the science of wellness, a unique program that combines artificial intelligence and ingredients exclusive to IFF and over 40 years of data on consumer preferences. I've got to carry on. I'm too interested. Using this unique technique, Domitille Michel-Lambertier has created a perfume that contains both emotive and cognitive properties for Moschino. Couldn't you say that about any perfume? The result is Toy 2 Pearl, a fragrance that stimulates an extraordinary sensation of luminous joyfulness and youthful energy in its wearer. Except me. She goes on to say, the great thing about artificial intelligence is that it processes all the data we have in an incredibly short time, allowing us to understand ingredients and how they enhance emotions. Based on this knowledge, artificial intelligence suggests combinations of ingredients that ensure my fragrance boosts specific emotions. Somebody's saying, mentally, I've already checked out. There's just a little bit of the paragraph left. This approach means perfumers can come up with new paths that would otherwise not be possible. It's all about an element of surprise. To some extent, artificial intelligence endows me with extra creative power. I think I've kind of checked out as well. Yeah. Okay. Well, at least they were very, very thorough in their description. Next, please, says Emma. Gavin says they need to provide electrodes to my stomach because I'm feeling sick now. Now, come on. Let's do the pre-sprayed one. Oh, here's Pearl. Pre-sprayed Pearl. Sharon says, I'm afraid this will be a trend in 24 houses claiming wellness science guided the composition. Let's just do the pre-sprayed one quickly. It's just so nondescript now. It's just sort of, you know, vaguely woody, vaguely vetiver-y, musky. Although the dry down is better than how it starts, that's for sure, because at least that kind of marine weirdness is gone. Okay, well, we've tried it. Bit of a shame, really, because you would have expected a lot more from that bottle. I think it could have been much more interesting, that bottle. Right. Pleasing everyone pleases no one, says Rachel. Yes, very, very wise words. Absolutely right. Okay, let's go on to a brand that actually I know nothing about. This is the first sample I've received from them. It's a UK-based brand, I believe, called Side Story. If you go onto their website, you should be able to find out a little bit more about them. Parfums and oils, it says, and this one is called Pillow Talk. I just looked at the stuff that came with it long enough to discover that they say that once you've finished with the bottle, you can use this, the cap, as a candle holder. It certainly does look like it's made of substantial stuff. I think it might be marble. So as I say, this one is called Pillow Talk. I think it's being released to coincide with Valentine's Day. And I have absolutely zero expectations. I do not know what to think of it. I mean, it's a heavy bottle. Not that that means anything, but let us have a sniff. And we've got the pre-sprayed blotter as well. Anybody know this brand at all? Kim says Pillow Talk is either $19 or $190. Why? Maybe they do like a sample. Is that what you mean? Okay. Woozy says, for most people, Pillow Talk is usually related to that Etalib d'Orange scent. Oh, anyway. Good name. Okay, I was expecting something kind of fluffy and light. This is a bit naughty. Do you know what two fragrances are immediately rushing to mind? It's like Shalimar has decided to have a really, really torrid affair with Musc Kublai Khan from Serge Lutens. I think these pillows should keep talking. Yeah, so it's a I mean, it's certainly, he's gone speechless. Thank goodness I've got the pre-sprayed one, because I will be really fascinated to, in a minute, find out what the dry down is like. But it certainly promises to be a really, really nicely done, substantial, animalic, kind of meaty, full-blooded, full-bodied amber, but also kind of big, musky, animalic again, kind of steamed, musky, just on the verge of, going too far into fecal, civety, Musc Kublai Khan territory. S. Umar says, what's the brand again? It's called Side Story. And I don't know why yet. Perhaps we can find out. I mean, or maybe the information will be on their website. Nice. Oh, nice. At least to start with. It's really purring. It's really growling. And what a good name. Because, I suppose coming after the Moschino, you kind of think something called Pillow Talk is going to be all pink and insipid. But this is... this knows pillow language very, very well. What can I tell you? I think it starts with bit of prose. It's a sort of fictional prose. I'm not going to read it, and I think it might be on their website. It's I'm guessing it's describing a couple sleeping. The bed linens were cool against her skin, crisp and clean, the satin white illuminating her face, her violet eyes, her tousled hair. He knelt on the bed and put his lips to her temple, then her ear, so on. He went to the sideboard and pulled a record from its sleeve. Oh, so you have to be a hipster, do you? As she raised the coffee to her lips. And so it carries on. Well, or maybe each perfume has a story. Do you think that could be why the brand is called Side Story? A little bit about the brand. Founded by Mujrana, Side Stories was born out of a fascination with scent and memory. The brand presents the notion that when you pass someone in a hallway and get a touch of their fragrance, you have a window into their story. Each bottle of Side Story begins in Grasse and is produced by master perfumer Jacques Chabert alongside a network of independent artisans and craftspeople. Side Story strikes a fine balance between luxury and accessibility, sourcing only exceptional ingredients and raw materials from Provence and other areas around the world, etc., etc. Side Story's 6-strong fragrance collection is bottled in Italian glass, each with a different one-of-a-kind hand-carved stone lid. And I've got a list of notes. Bergamot, orange, cinnamon, ylang-ylang, orris, amyris bark, gaiac wood, patchouli, Peru balsam, and musk. And the stone is meant to be from Tuscany. So I guess it's probably marble then, is it? I suppose. Oh, let's do the pre-sprayed one. Gavin says, my story is usually that I've been around a lot of fragrance shops and sprayed myself with everything. Yeah, I think I project the same narrative a lot of the time. Where's the pre-sprayed pillow? Here we go. I just called it pillow. Power Connection says Shalimar could only have a torrid affair. Yes, you're right, actually. Could Shalimar have any other sort of affair? Can you imagine Shalimar having a kind of non-committal one-night stand type? No, never mind. Oh, this is nice. It very, very definitely channels Shalimar, it channels Le Lion, but it doesn't have that kind of leathery quality. It's amber, 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 lots of bergamot, but a really, really nicely done, properly animalic growl. Ooh, what a nice discovery. Kim says the packaging is quite bland, though, even with the stone top. Well, never mind. That probably means they've put all of the money into the juice. That's fine. And I don't know, is that bland? I mean, I personally find that quite attractive, actually. I mean, it's not trying too hard. They've got the brand name engraved. Is that called engraving or etched into the base? I think that's quite smart. I don't know. It's very, very, very heavy base. It's sort of reminiscent of the Hermès Jour d'Hermès bottle. But seriously, as long as they put the money in the juice. How's the cinnamon off the top, says Mika. Well, it's definitely there. You get that kind of spicy overload. Oh, I was not expecting that. Right, I need to smell the others from this brand now. Definitely need to smell the others. Okay, that's top of the list so far. Not that it, well, yeah, I was going to say not that it was hard, because I quite like this one. But, okay, good. Let us move on. Now, this was interesting, because when I found out about this, I had a properly surprised moment. This is a new, or the new, I should say, eau de parfum version of Bulgari pour Homme. And when I found out very, very, very recently that it was being released, I think it's out sort of any day now. It may be out tomorrow. I thought to myself, oh gosh, you know, they're doing the EDP now. I used to really, really like the EDT back in the day. The EDT was done by Jacques Cavalier, and it's such a shame that they discontinued it. I always thought it was like such a nicely done, well balanced, you know, just really, really well balanced, sophisticated, masculine tea, amber, musk scent. And then I found out that it hasn't been discontinued at all, and apparently you can still get it. That EDT was launched in 1995, and look, I dug out my EDT bottle. I'm pretty sure this must be one of the originals. I mean, the bottle hasn't lasted terribly well. This isn't my first bottle of it, because I did wear this quite a lot, and I was really, really taken with it. But now this is going to, this will forever now remain in the Persolaise archive to be looked after. We might do a side-by-side comparison. And so now there's an EDP. I don't know why it's taken them nearly 3 years to do an EDP. And there is a bit of me that thinks, oh, is this going to sully my memory of the EDT, or is the EDP going to just try a little bit too hard and be a little bit too heavy? What was great about the EDT, and I don't know what shape the EDT is in now, okay? I have no idea. I mean, for a scent that originally came out in 1995, it will almost inevitably will need to have been reformulated. But let's see if it brings back any memories. Okay, so that profile is still there. And can any of you remember, because I didn't get time, I wanted to find out before I started the broadcast. I think it may have been last year or 2 years ago, Jacques Cavalier for Louis Vuitton did a masculine, which was a kind of musky, ambery tea scent, which I said reminded me a lot of his Bulgari pour Homme EDT. It is still there. That identity, that profile is still there. Very, very kind of gently, discreetly done black tea note, not trying too hard with the smokiness, and you immediately feel that, just with a little bit of an addition of maybe some spice, maybe a bit of cardamom, some citrus at the top, it's just going to rest on this kind of clean, white, musky, ambery base. Was it L'Immensité, says Mika? Yeah, it could have been. It could have been. Well, I'll go back to one of my videos and find out. I suppose I'm going to spray the EDT in a minute, just to see if maybe I've completely misremembered it. But I am now thinking that the EDP is just a bit weightier, like it's put on a few pounds over the years, just a bit thicker around the waist, and so it's kind of trying a bit too hard to defy the forces of gravity. But it's attractive. It is attractive, and absolutely. Teenage boy, I would be saying, Mr. Teenage Boy, consider this over Sauvage. Let's try the Bulgari EDT. I haven't smelt it for a while. Let's just label it EDT, then I'll know what that one is. I do have a brief press release. Imagination, says Wayne. Yeah, I think it may have been Imagination. Yes, I think it was Imagination. You're right. Yeah. Okay, this is the EDT of Bulgari pour Homme. Okay. I mean, you can definitely tell they're the same scent. And yet the EDT has maybe just got a bit more sparkle to it. Just that lightness of touch, that beautiful kind of stone skimming off the surface of the water. But I think what's happening as well in a marketing sense, people just don't want to buy EDTs because they think they're wasting their money. They think they're getting something cheap that isn't going to last, which absolutely is not the case at all. EDTs can last a very, very long time. Anyway, introducing Bulgari pour Homme Eau de Parfum, a new olfactive concentration of the iconic Eau de Toilette. Conveying a pure new bliss, Bulgari pour Homme invites the most soothing facets of nature into one's own intimate space. I beg your pardon, you're getting too close. A masterpiece of olfactive harmony, blending the great outdoors with home comfort, bringing external and intimate worlds together to create the ultimate sensation of freedom, blurring boundaries between the outside and inside world, yes, so on and so forth. Tell us something about the perfume. Comforting and refined, Bulgari pour Homme resonates with the peacefulness of nature and the serenity of being at ease in one's skin. Beautifully balanced, its versatility is striking, an inspired alignment of contemporary elements forged through the freshness of Darjeeling tea and the subtle elegance of musk accord. Now, in an unprecedented chapter for this timeless icon, well, yeah, it's unprecedented because you haven't made an EDP before, so yes. Bulgari introduces Pour Homme Eau de Parfum, a new concentration of the iconic Eau de Toilette by master perfumer Jacques Cavalier. Same key ingredients, new interpretation, it says. Like the original EDT, Bulgari pour Homme EDP layers intense, woody, smoky tea notes. It's not intense and smoky. Just don't oversell it. Over a soft musk background amplified by Ombre Absolute, while bracing ginger adds vibrant new tones. Actually, okay, yeah, there's definitely something fizzing there. Opening with a Darjeeling tea accord, the fragrance explodes with freshness as dazzling spicy ginger notes are revealed. The ginger extraction technology delivers a natural and pure olfactive quality, allowing a unique citrusy fresh expression which endures on the skin. The uplifting scent is brought into balance with Ceylon tea extract and hints of guaiac wood essence, anchoring more deeply the fragrance's iconic woody and slightly smoky trail. Finally, the articulated duo of tea scents is emboldened by a contemporary and elegant musk accord that encompasses 4 different musks. In full harmony with the musky and woody notes, touches of ombrette seed, whose quality and powdery effect add depthless, do they mean depth? And an intensified second skin effect to the eau de parfum, and then something about the bottle. Okay, so perhaps not the most helpful press release in the world, but never mind. Let's get the pre-sprayed one. Here we go. I think it's fine. Yeah. Okay. So from memory, because I don't have a pre-sprayed EDT, but from memory, I think in its dry down, this is kind of playing the woody card a bit too heavily. It's just weighty. It's just weighty. The EDT was confident enough to not try too hard, but it lasted for ages. That musky dry down, I seem to remember, lasted for ages. The EDP, I suppose, is a bit more nocturnal. I can imagine some people will be saying, oh, you know, this will be good for night wear and the other one will be good for day. But yeah, nicely done. It's nice to kind of have it back on our radar. And what I should do is go to a Bulgari counter and smell the current formulation of the EDT and see how that's lasted. Okay, Dave NYC says, an article on Fragrantica the other day claimed that Jean-Claude Eleanor's Eau Thé Vert was originally submitted for what became Fahrenheit. How come you guys are talking about Fahrenheit? You may well be right, because Jean-Claude Eleanor apparently was taking the tea idea around lots and lots of places, and in the end it was only Bulgari that accepted it. Well, I'm guessing not a lot of people have got much to say about this one because you haven't tried it yet. So let's move on because I would like to get 2 more in there. Let's go to Francesca Bianchi. I've got a lot of time for her. As you know, she very kindly came and did an interview on this channel, what, 2 years ago, 2 and a bit years ago. I love her Etruscan water. Personally, I think some of her scents, you know, just for me, to my tastes, start ending up being a little bit samey. I think she goes down that route of making things that are really, really kind of thick and sticky, you know, sort of like throwing in everything, including the kitchen sink. I'm sort of waiting for her to go and do something really, really quite different. And Etruscan water, I suppose, remains still one of her most different ones. This is called Encounters. And I believe it's been out, I'm going to say for what, maybe a couple of months, something like that. It's the same base in all of them, says Kim. Yes, I get that feeling as well, that she sort of starts off from the same point and just tries to go for different embellishments, which is fine. I mean, that's a perfectly legitimate way of creating a perfume. But I suppose I'm just hoping for something quite radically different. Oriana says, I don't mind that DNA feel. No, exactly. And it works for her. I think it's how she wants to create. And she's doing extremely well from what I gather. Francesca Bianchi is so good, says Oriana. Encounters is a cousin of Sticky Fingers. Oh, okay, so is this one? Let's have a smell. Yes, you're definitely going back into that Francesca Bianchi world, aren't you? Where things are very, very rich and very opulent and quite baroque, I suppose, quite dark, irisy and animalic and woody. You know, she likes to turn down the light in her compositions and just have pinpoints of light coming at you from unexpected places. The overall mode is dark. But I suppose what's different about this one, at least on this first sniff, is a sense of something more animalic, more brooding. Dimitri says none of her fragrances are finished. That's the general gist. I think that's a bit harsh. I don't know. I mean, slightly rough around the edges is I think a legitimate way of finishing a perfume. You know, they may not have that kind of French haute couture buttoned up quality, but I'm not sure that's what she's going for. I think she's going for something just a bit more disruptive. I don't want to put words into her mouth, but that's the feeling I get. I don't agree with the non-finished quality, says Kim. Power Connection says it just seems like she's afraid to try for a singular scent. Interesting. Power Connection goes on to say, yes, you can tell she has more, though. I think she just needs to grow. I wonder, actually, if my personal, you know, if somebody came to me and said, what would you do with this? I think I would say something like, strip it back a little bit and focus in on whatever the idea is that guided you in the first place, because it just seems a little bit, and when I say a little bit, I mean a little bit too obscure for its own good. I don't have a press release, but I got a little bit of a blurb, actually more than a little bit of a blurb. As with all of her perfumes, or most of her perfumes, this is an extrait. It's supposed to be assertively hedonistic, mysterious, and luxurious. Definitely mysterious, and probably hedonistic I'd go with as well. Where East meets West, she says, the fascinating point of contact between different cultures, where diversity produces a new language, iconic materials from East and West, oud and iris, blended into a new, mysterious, and voluptuous creature. Yeah, so that must be the animalic part. It is interesting. She goes on to say, I've always been fascinated by contaminations from different cultures. That's a nice way of putting it. Giving birth to new forms, called syncretistic, eclectic, to me a new deviant marvel. I remember my enchantment for the exotic and mysterious pseudo-Arabic scripts in the halos of some Renaissance paintings focused on a quintessential character of Christian culture and yet contaminated by a reference to the Arabic culture, or the incredibly syncretistic forms such as Greek or Roman temples transformed into Christian churches, or Indo-Islamic architecture merging two cultures in a new language. I wished to render this obsession of mine with encounters, thanks to a combination of two iconic ingredients from East and West, iris and oud, a moment of contact from whom a new creature originates. And then she goes on to describe, what does she say about the oud? Oud is an iconic ingredient of Eastern culture due to its crucial significance, derived from an infection of the Aquilaria tree. It's native to South and Southeast Asia and parts of the Middle East, considered one of the most precious materials in perfumery, etc., etc. And then she also talks about the iris being iconic in Europe. I think this is one from her recent ones that I've sort of at this sniff enjoying more than compared to some of the recent ones. Where's my pre-sprayed one of that? There we go. FB, I labeled it. It's nice work, and actually, the oud, you definitely get that animalic oud. And what's good about it is that she hasn't overdone it. It's recognizable without going into completely, you know, bludgeoning you over the head territory. Do you remember when Dusita did their oud, which has that been discontinued? I mean, a lot of people loved it, but because it was so gigantic. But this isn't about that kind of feel. It does seem to be about bringing elements together to see if they form something new. So Encounters is a great name, actually. Jazz says, I didn't get much oud from Encounters, but an unpleasant animalic facet. Okay. But I suppose, again, I'm still thinking, why not spell out that Iris Oud duo more clearly and have everything else in the background just kind of supporting? Because the other things in the background are just kind of crowding in a bit too much for my personal liking. Just obscuring things a little bit too much. This needs skin and time, says Oriana. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right. And I will do my very, very best to give it some skin and some time. But let us do the last one. This is new. I believe it's new. Yeah, I'm sure it's new. From Bon Parfumeur. This is their scent called 001. I haven't been overly impressed by this brand. I think I did a kind of showcase review of some of their stuff a little while ago. The whole idea is that the numbering gives you a clue as to what sort of scent it's going to be. So I think all of the ones which are just units, the ones which start with zeros are meant to be cologne type scents. And then there are hundreds and 200s, and I forget which way it goes, but some of them are. Some of them are floral, some of them are fruity, etc., etc. And I just, I was not impressed. But let's keep an open mind. So this is meant to be a cologne, and it tells me on the bottle that I'm meant to expect orange blossom, petit grain, and bergamot. So let's see what we get. Always willing to be pleasantly surprised. Pop that on there. Rachel says, this is a really interesting house, as the mystery and obscurity seem to be part of the pleasure as ideas emerge with wearing. Oh, you're talking about Francesca Bianchi. Yes, definitely much more interesting than this. I do wonder if the mystery is hiding technique issues. Okay, let's smell this. Okay, this, at least at first sniff, is going to put a smile on my face, because I'm exactly where I should be now, remembering an old vintage bottle of 4711 cologne. So nicely done orange blossom, at least to start with, nicely done bergamot, and that kind of tart, sharp, on the verge of overly alcoholic feel that actually you want from a really, really bracing cologne. Okay. Yeah, this is at least doing what it's meant to be doing to start off with. Power Connection says, this turns me off. Things like this, numbers instead of names. Well, I mean, everybody's got to go for a gimmick, haven't they? What do they say about it? What do they say? Let's get rid of that one. I don't need that one. Don't need that one. I thought, oh no, I know where I kept the thing. There we go. I haven't got much about it. It just says, a timeless fragrance with orange blossom, petit grain, and bergamot, a must-have that we all love for its comforting and always elegant sweetness. I don't know about sweetness. The trio of sparkling citrus fruits awakens this timeless cologne, bergamot and lavandin. Oh, well done for being honest and not saying it's lavender. Combined with the sweetness of orange blossom and musky base notes, add lasting hold. Much more than a simple fresh cologne, it sticks to our skin. If you're saying it's much more than a simple fresh cologne, it better be. But don't say that just because you feel worried that if you say it's just a fresh cologne, people are going to be put off. Here's the pre-sprayed one. And actually, this was sprayed about 2 hours ago, and it's still kind of pushing that cologne thing really well. It's now just become quietly musky, soapy, but still very, very citrusy. A very, very nice way of getting a kick from, the kind of 4711 kick that you don't get so much from 4711 itself because it's been so cheapened. Actually, yeah, I may sort of save this one for the summer. Pleasantly surprised, I should say. But look, I've got to do this thing. I need to find out what on earth the pillow talk. We've got a few minutes left. I want to find out what pillow talk is going to be like on skin, because that's the one that's intrigued me the most. Okay. Oh wow. I guess what I'm trying to decide is it sufficiently different from Shalimar to justify getting it? But yes, I think it is, because again, I'm thinking, so do you remember when I reviewed Chanel's Le Lion and I said that it was like a kind of meeting point of Shalimar and Chanel's own Coromandel and Chanel's own Cuir de Russie? This feels like it's somewhere between Shalimar and Musc Kublai Khan, and also Musc Ravageur from Frederic Malle, although Musc Ravageur was anyway a kind of reinterpretation of Shalimar. Musc Ravageur is actually an interesting reference. If you're looking for a new animalic ambery scent, you need to check this one out. It's wicked. It's really, really, really wicked, and wonderfully so. Right. Next project, Persolaise, find out more about this brand and see what else you can get. Although, you know, what if the others I'm not going to like at all? But this one is doing a nice job. Okay. Thank you very much for tuning in, folks. Don't forget, tomorrow, so that's the 5th of February at 5 p.m. UK time, we will be presenting the next episode in our masterclass series, looking at 2 more important ingredients with Rémi Pulveray of Les Indemodables. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment or ask a question on the recording. I usually get round to all of them in due course. Oh, Gavin says, is it an Absolu pour le soir replacement? It doesn't have that honey note. Do you remember Absolu pour le soir was like a really, really dirty honey? It doesn't have that. It's got a kind of more ambery, Shalimar bergamoty sort of feel. But yeah, absolutely. It might work as a replacement. Good night on your pillows all. Yes, let us spray the pillow with this one. Right, I will see you tomorrow. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Be good now. Bye.